So I opened up Twitter today and I came across a post by Dave Melvin right here, and it's basically him posting a bunch of his art that he's created for the ARK dossiers. So of course, this is the guy that created pretty much all of the art that appears in the dossiers. They scruff it up a bit when they put it into this style right here, but he creates the original image that they use. So he started posting a bunch of them, creatures that we know and love, you know, like the Deathworm, the Arthro. We love those guys, don't we? We have the RG here as well. We have the Morellatops. And then he started posting a bunch of other ones that never actually made it into the game. So in this video, we're going to be going over all of those creatures that could have been in ARK, but never were. And yeah, so hit the like button if you found yourself enjoying this one, and this is what the acro would have looked like. How crazy is that? They were actually considering putting the acro into the game. I wonder what stopped them. Maybe it's potentially, I've noticed recently with wildcard and like these creature votes, they very clearly did not want to do more big dinosaur. You know, I personally like big dinosaur, but I don't think they really were too interested in adding some more giant carnivores and stuff. You know, of course, we are getting the Gorgonopsid, but that's fine. Like, I'm really excited for that. I don't think that they're super thrilled that they had to put that thing in eventually anyway, because some of the talk on Twitter just leaned in an opposite direction. Maybe I'm just reading into it in a different way. But anyway, this is what the acro could have looked like in the game. Of course, it was scrapped. You know, we never got this dude. We're probably never going to get this dude in ARK 1, but damn, that is so cool looking. By the way, it is confirmed that it is an acro. He did reply to a couple people on some of these posts, not all of them, but I'll try and read whatever names we actually get confirmed or whatever. But yeah, this is what the acro would have looked like. And then check this one out. Look at this freaking crab thing. So somebody asked, of course, is this supposed to be the Carcanos? He says he's not sure. So I'm not even sure if this was supposed to be the Carcanos. I really doubt it would have been, right? Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. They are very, very different looking. The Carcanos also has more claws as well. So yeah, anyway, something like this would have been really crazy. Some sort of prehistoric crab. Maybe this thing has a name. I have no idea, but more little critters nipping at your heels along the beach would have been kind of funny. You know, it's kind of like a trilobite that would attack back, and you know, you could get a little bit of chitin from them. I don't know. I love the colors and everything. This is a really cool image right here. This is probably one of my favorites out of all these guys, but really crazy to see. Next up, we have what I thought initially was the Megaloceros, but obviously the horns are different, but then he also posted the Megaloceros as well, so I have no idea what this is actually supposed to be. Probably some sort of prehistoric deer or something like that. Potentially could have also been a concept for a reindeer. You know, of course, we have the reindeer costume in the game. I have no idea what this was initially supposed to be, or if it even made it into the game in some form, but yeah, some sort of prehistoric deer type creature. Really cool looking, actually. I really like those patterns. Next up, that is the Megaloceros, of course. Right here, I have no idea what this thing is. Somebody did post what it potentially could be. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I'd have no idea. I thought that this could have been an Oviraptor, but it doesn't have the head thing, so it's probably this thing. Yeah, I have no idea. It looks really cool, though. I love the colors and everything right here. Really crazy looking. More like little creatures like this could have been cool, but, you know, we have so many creatures in the game now, and they would totally add some sort of stud or something to this thing. You could tell. Next up, the Gorgonopsid. This would have been crazy to have in the game. Honestly, you're going to be hearing me say that quite a lot, because I 100% believe that a lot of these creatures could have shaken up the game in so many ways, especially if they were added late, because early on, you know, they were throwing out creatures every freaking week for a while. And then eventually they stopped doing that, and they started to give them more abilities and more reasons to actually have them in the game, rather than just being different looking creature coming at you. So yeah, the Gorgonopsid could have been really crazy to have in the game. I know. It would have probably, I think they're roughly around the same size as, like, maybe like between like a direwolf and a Thyla, that kind of size, I think, maybe. But yeah, would have been really cool. I love the actual jaws on these things. I've seen this in like a couple mods along the way, like the Jurassic Park mod and stuff, but yeah, would have been really crazy to have in the game. Yeah, I said it again. Actually, I do believe that we might be getting this out of the ARK Editions mod at some point soon, maybe. I have no idea. I think it was on his list, so we might see that eventually. Next up, this right here. No, this is not Randall from Monsters Inc., of course. This is, I thought initially could have been a Diplocaulus, but of course the head is different. This is what the Diplo's head looks like, in case you didn't remember. And then, of course, just to confirm, this is what a Diplo head looks like, you know, as a skeleton. So it's definitely not a Diplo. And then I was thinking, okay, and then I read over here, somebody said Kulasuchus. I've actually seen this creature in the Jurassic Park mod as well, I believe. It was gigantic in that, but looks really crazy. I don't know, man. More like little creatures like this, you know, what would have been the point of something like this in the game? Who knows? Of course, this dude right here, I don't know, how many people have actually used these in the last year? Be honest with me, because you suck the air out of their gills, it's kind of a bit weird. I have no idea what you would actually do with this version, but we never got it, so I guess we'll never know. Okay, so next up is the Hive, and when I saw this, I thought, you know what? I'm making a video on this stuff, because I need to. This creature dates back to like 2016. Back in the day, we used to get these like updates on the dev kit, and you could go in and you could look at models. This is what it looked like in the dev kit in like 2016. It's been in the dev kit since then, I believe. I don't think they removed it, but it's never been added to the game, unfortunately. So this is what it basically looked like in its freaking dossier. So they went so far with the development of this creature, they even have a model of it. I have no idea why they scrapped it. Very, very strange. Along with this creature, we actually had a companion creature, which was called the Swarm. So we had the Hive and we had the Swarm. Now, basically, this was a smaller insect creature, and you can see right here. Here it is in the dev kit as well. They made both of these guys, and they just scrapped them. They never textured them properly, but you can see in the background right here, we have the Hive, and you can tell that the Swarm is much smaller. The idea is that the Swarm would basically come out of these holes on the Hive, hence the name the Hive. You know, the creature is a hive for a swarm of creatures. You'd kind of approach this big insect, and it would just start spitting out a bunch of little like bugs that would just come at you. Honestly, the concept of that seems really cool, and I'm so annoyed that we never got it. And I've just given up hope about this creature. You know, over the years, they used to do these like little kind of Q&A type things for the community crunch, and a couple years ago, I specifically remember, I think I was the one that asked the question. I asked a couple questions that got answered along the years, but I asked a question of when we would be getting this, probably in like 2017 at some point, and I don't know who replied to it, but somebody from Wildcard said that we would be getting it at some point soon. It's been like 5 years, so we're not getting this, but yeah, they were really certain that they were going to add this creature, and it's so disappointing that we never got it, you know? This, along with the Phoenix, for a while, were like two creatures that we were really, really wanting, and we got the Phoenix eventually, but we never got this thing. There's a lot of history with ARK and stuff. Maybe some of you don't know it all, but there's a lot of history with a lot of these crazy little creatures and everything. Now, about the Swarm, a lot of people, including myself, have kind of just assumed that their idea for the insect swarm on Genesis came from this whole concept of the Hive and the Swarm. You know, they don't look that similar, but, you know, it's kind of the same thing. These things come at you in big swarms, you know, maybe that's exactly how the actual swarm itself could have worked. Who knows, but I'm still very disappointed we never got that. And now that we're getting the Ascension for Scorched, it would have been a really good opportunity to just chuck this thing in as well. We're not getting it. I don't think that's happening, but it would have been really cool. I don't know. This thing looks amazing, though. I really like the look of this one. Next up, we have what I thought initially could have been the Phiomia, but it's actually the Platy Belladonna, and I looked up that dude. This is definitely what it was. Yeah, another like medium kind of creature, I suppose, that would have probably, you know, this is a herbivore, of course. You can see the molars and everything. It would have pretty much scooped up some stuff and ate like that. Maybe it could have been a really good berry gatherer or something. I have no idea. Scrapped creature, of course, but it would have been really cool to see this dude in the game, especially with those little tusks like that and these massive, I would assume those are teeth. I have no, is this also tusks? I have no idea. And then we have whatever the hell this is. Maybe a Velociraptor? Velociraptors are tiny. This could have potentially been that. It could have been something else. No idea, but we never got this thing in the game. Somewhat kind of looked like a Troodon for a minute, but then I looked up what a Troodon looked like, and this is definitely not it. But maybe it could have also been a Pyroraptor. I have no idea. If you guys know, let me know. But yeah, tiny little theropod. Then we have this dude right here. No idea. People are saying they think it's a Caharodontosaurus. It could have been the old version of what they were maybe going to add at one point. You know, when you're making a dinosaur game and it's getting as popular as ARK did, you know, so quick like that, you're probably wanting to just chuck in all the big creatures. So I would imagine all the giant carnivores were on their list at one point or another, but no idea if that's actually supposed to be it. Could have been like a, what are they called? Tarvasaurus or Torvosaurus, I think, maybe? I have no idea. But I love the colors and everything on this dude right here. This would have been some really crazy mutations right here. I'm like looking at these creatures being like, oh man, what would happen if this was blue all over? That would have been amazing. But yeah, really crazy looking creature right here. This looks a lot more finished than the Acro did as well. So who knows? You know, they could have been so close to adding a lot of these guys and then just decided not to. Then we have what I think is a Stygimoloch. It's not a Pachycephalosaurus because they didn't have horns this big on their head. And I'm just gonna assume this is a Stygimoloch, which technically is in the game, but it's actually a skin, not an actual creature. We all hate that, I know. We also have the Styracosaurus and the Brachiosaurus as skins as well. Really, really hate the fact that their skins are not actual creatures, but whatever. That's an old argument. We've been over this 20 billion times. Would have been cool to have this guy in the game, actually, especially around Jurassic World. Was it called Fallen Kingdom? That was the second one, right? Because of course this dude's in the game, and that's actually exactly when they added in the skin. They just cashed in on that movie, didn't they? But yeah, so having this dude in the game could have been cool. Could have been a little bit different from the Packy, but you know, like they're very similar. So you know, what can they do to make this one different from the Packy, and you know, what can they do to the Packy to make it, you know, cooler and make people actually want to ride on that instead of this guy with the freaking horns and everything? I have no idea, but yeah, this would have been cool to have in the game. Next up, what I thought was a new creature is actually the Troodon. It's just differently colored. It's the exact same creature. It may kind of be hard to see because the Troodon, the dossier is a lot smaller, but this is the exact same thing. It's just green in the dossier instead. And what do we have next? Oh yeah, so these are some unused concepts right here at the very end. So this is essentially based off of a Chupacabra. I feel like we've seen this image before. 100% have seen this thing before. But yeah, really crazy. Could have been an initial concept for like the Nameless or something. But yeah, it's so weird looking, especially this like massive like one tooth, like one fang at the bottom here. Oh my god, that would have been terrifying. What do we have next? We have, I think, what maybe could have been the space whale or the space dolphin. Again, no idea. I don't think he really even knows as well. Like, these are just concepts. There's like some barnacles on his face right here, so probably the space whale if I would make any sort of guess. Next up, what do we have here? This is, I guess, a different version of a horse. Maybe the initial concept for the Equus. It just looks like a way muscular freaking horse right here. It's like Chad horse right here. Oh my god. Next up, what do we have? I think, okay, I have a good idea of what this thing could have been, and maybe you guys have already come up with it as well. Magma Sword, maybe? Because like look at the math right here. It looks like there's like fire building up in there. Could have been like a different version of a Magma Sword along the way, but yeah, man, this would have been crazy looking, like especially with this freaking giant spike on its head like that. Of course, I think the Magma Sword is great, but this thing as well would have been really cool to have. But yeah. So next up, I do believe this would have been the Thorny Dragon initially. This would have been like an initial concept for it. Of course, this is not how it appears in the dossier, but there's not very much of a difference between this and the Thorny Dragon itself. I just figured that we'd show it as well. Also feel like I've seen this image before as well. Maybe this stuff was shared. Then this is a scrapped concept for the Wyverns, which would have been a lot cooler than what we have. I'm gonna be honest, I'm really digging this design right here. So we still, of course, only have the two back legs and then the like, I guess, claws on the wings, which is exactly what a wyvern is. Much longer tail, I think, at least, and then the neck. Look at the way it curves around like that. This thing would have been gigantic, but yeah, I don't know, man. Would have been crazy to have them looking like this instead, and of course we would have had variations of this maybe as well, but yeah, that looks so cool. I'm so disappointed that this wasn't what they went with. I mean, like, I guess, you know, maybe I'd be thinking the exact opposite thing if we had this and I was looking at, you know, what we actually have as the wyverns. Who knows? But I think this looks great, and I'm really bummed out that we never got this in some form. Then I don't think he even knows what this is. We're not really going to talk about this too much. Like, I don't know what to think. I'm seeing so many references to movies right here. Like, it's basically a Xenomorph kind of, sort of, but it's like fleshy, and like the tail is kind of creepy. I don't like the way it gets really fleshy colored back here. Yeah, it's also kind of humanoid. Could have this been the Nameless? I have no idea, but it's terrifying. This might haunt my nightmares. That doesn't even make any sense. It's gonna haunt my dreams. It's gonna make them nightmares. And then at the very end here, we have some concepts for what the ARK logo could have looked like. So obviously these are very, very rough, especially this one right here. This is just a very, very early concept for what it could have looked like. I'm kind of happy we didn't go like this. Honestly, I look at this and I just see Anthony as branding. I don't know why. Then we have another version right here. Kind of happy they didn't do this extra bit right here. It's nice to just have the A instead of the R and the K as well. And then, of course, we have something similar to what we actually have now, which is really, really, really close to what we actually have, actually. This one thing, like with the little pieces coming out of it, I think that's technically in some versions of like the old trailers. I don't think that they use that anymore. But yeah, so this is probably the closest concept to what it could have looked like, and it pretty much does look like this. So I guess this is basically the ARK logo before it was, you know, made pretty or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all of these images, guys. We're like, we're done. This is so cool to just see all of this stuff. I'm so happy that he shared all of this. you know, just seeing all of these creatures that could have been in the game we never got. It kind of bums me out a little bit for the most part, but I'm still happy to see these images. And honestly, like going forward with ARK 2, we're gonna have so many crazy creatures to look at. We're not even gonna remember any of these things. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. If you have enjoyed it, go ahead, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you want to see more like this, you can of course subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.